pretty much going to shoot from the hip here. I'm just going to be honest. We live in a dishonest time where every day uh, society forces us to be dishonest with ourselves in order to exist within it, within their manufactured bubble. And I'm just tired of it and shit. And I want to, before I get started, I want to clean the room, of any dissidents. So I'm going to say that I'm not anti any ethnic group, but we need our reparations and we need to be made whole. And so that should get rid of a bunch of people. All right. And I feel like they're marginalizing my people, in various reasons, ways. Biden gave a certain group a crime bill, right? They give assurances to illegal immigrants, all right? Now we're anti certain ethnic group, which shall go unnamed for obvious reasons. And I feel like they're trying to do this weird stutter step and push us back into slavery or make us realize that we actually are slaves even now in their system, along with a lot of their own people. I'm too stupid to realize it and shit and to do anything about it. This is not about that, okay? It's just my feelings of what I did. They're doing the circling the wagons inverted, trying to just do this little, thing, try to, finesse us. Some people, I'm pretty old. I'm old enough where I'm not worried about it. I think you young people should get your head together and see what you want to do. You got to come together and shit, but you ain't going to learn. We got to spend another 20 to 30 years we don't have cleaning up our ethnic community down here in the slave quarters to get everybody on the same, everybody on the same fucking page. I'm making this video because of the article Goldie Taylor wrote, which identifies black boys as a threat to society when we're nothing of the sort. They've been actively killing us off from the onset, since they brought a portion of our ancestors over here in the Native American that we're descended from. They've been killing us off actively. They haven't stopped doing this. They've just found a more civilized way to do it. All right. I don't appreciate these talking heads. All right. I don't appreciate these bootlicks, these goddamn coons. I don't even feel like making a full production out of this fucking episode. I'm just gonna get one static picture. You're gonna get the one static picture and shit of Goldie Taylor and a portion of her article for Rolling Stone. I'm just tired. I can't stand the sight of this woman. I don't want to assault her ethnicity or whatever she is and shit, or what she thinks she is. But, once we're all gone, you're still a nigga. Okay, bitch? You're still a nigga. I'm just saying it like that. I'm a black man and I'm telling you, when we're all gone, the ones that look like me and darker and shit, you are the nigga, okay? And you're gonna follow us and shit, okay? And don't come into that darkness and whatnot. There's no place for you there. We don't want you. We don't want the people like you. You stay where you are in the middle. You're gonna be that sandwich meat and shit now, okay? I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of the headhunting. I'm tired of the buck breaking and shit. Online and in the public and shit. And I heard that Kyrie Irving made some kind of secondary apology and shit. And I just, I shake my fucking head. I hope that he didn't do this. The man's worth about 90 million. No cap and shit. I don't mean a pocket watch, but I mean that he has enough money to flip them the bird and sit on his hands and shit for the rest of his career. He could just get some of his buddies and they could make they could shoot some fucking hoops and shit on his property or something. He could put that shit on YouTube or something. Who the fuck knows? They could make a website, KyrieIrving.com, and just do games on there and shit with some of his buddies. I'd be like, man, fuck it. Fuck their ass. We have to find a way to get everyone's hands out of our pocket. We have to find a way to get all these traitors out of our community and shit, or identify them. They need to be blacklisted and shit. We need an ethnic Me Too. I'm nominating Goldie Taylor. Be one of the inaugural people in this group. She needs to be in this group, man. We need to be wary of her. And we need to start teaching our children about these coons and these traitors. We need to teach them by name. Say, like, this person is a bad person because of this. And I am talking about small children. Because, like, the minority majority, they've been teaching their kids superiority and overt racism for a minute and shit. That's why you have these children doing these insane acts of, egregious, straight up racism and shit. A lot of it in, unfortunately, Florida. And fuck that shit. And what do we got over in our community and shit? We got dudes turning into females and shit. No dig at the alphabet community. I'm talking about a mental ideology that is festered and shit since the late 70s, where the men left the women take the lead and shit, and the women took the lead, and they partnered up with these politicians and shit, and it fucked us royally. We didn't make no fucking, we made no headway, and every time we made a headway, they made a big production out of something performative and shit. Oh, the first black this, the first black that. What about black people? Now we've come to a point in our society where saying black people and shit is almost a crime. They identifying our ethnic group. And I can't believe that another ethnic group would spearhead something like this, considering their history and shit, but our history of degradation, our Holocaust and shit is ongoing and shit. And I hope a lot of you motherfuckers that don't like this, y'all can see your way out. I hate Goldie Taylor because she's a piece of shit. Alright? She's a piece of shit for writing that op-ed piece of shit. I acknowledge freedom of speech and shit, even though my people, my ethnic gender, my cisgender male brother, he was demonized for tweeting, and not answering the question and not behaving in a manner in which his paymasters expected. They wanted him to get on his knees and cry like a bitch. That's what they wanted him to do. Cry like a bitch. But he didn't do that. He still tried to maintain some dignity and self-respect, so they decided to flog his ass and shit. And I want to tell anybody that doesn't like me saying butt breaking, you can exit stage right to or shit. I'm gonna say what the fuck I want to say. We spent our lives, decades, being muted and shit, listening to our women tell us to play the background and shit while they partnered up with the minority majority and fucked us over and shit, on Capitol Hill and elsewhere. And these goddamn companies and everything, they're the gatekeepers. Alright, they're the ones keeping you out of a job. They're the ones overwhelmingly doing these office jobs in HR and all this shit. Yeah, I hate Goldie Taylor. I hate her fucking face. I hate her fucking face. I don't care about her career or nothing. She's just another white supremacist, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, she's a white supremacist. We don't accept her in the black race. And I respect Campbell Asian, Tiger Woods, and the other niggas I've shoved up under that nomenclature too much to include her. Alright? I don't care about her complexion or nothing. She's just a white supremacist. She might as well just put a white hood on the next time she appears in a media program. She might as well just wear her Klan robes. And she should be ran off of fucking. She should be doxxed. She should be ran out. Everybody should descend on all her social media platforms and ask her why she hates her people. Alright, why does she hate black people? She's black. Alright, and remind her, they should just tweet, Goldie Taylor is black. Alright? Tweet that in excess. Tweet that motherfucking Tucker Carlson over there in Fox about this. He probably think it's funny and talk about it and shit. We need to find some way to punish these people for attacking us, attacking our children, endorsing the further degradation and lack of resources in our community, even though we're citizens. We pay taxes into the system and shit. We get nothing, little to nothing back. I live in Chicago. The fucking mayor closed down 50 schools in my sector and shit, and they never replaced it. They gave them vouchers for a fucking charter school. They turned everything into a goddamn business. Everything is about going into our pocket and shit. You guys are so stupid you don't even realize it and shit. when somebody's fleecing your ass. You know, the house always wins, they say. You don't get it. We don't get it as a people a lot of times. And I'm old, I shouldn't give a fuck at this point. You know, some people have been blaming Gen Xers for like the situation that we're in now, like in our community. And I tell you, kiss my fucking ass. Kiss my ass. I'm a Gen Xer and shit. The fucking baby boomers did this to us. They're the ones that was in that me generation and all that shit and doing them and shit. You know, while their kids were at home, locked away, watching, letting the TV raise them and shit, looking at all this negative shit on TV and thinking it was cat. I was a latchkey kid. I watched a lot of TV, man. All right. I went to school, had a public education when it was still decent. I have a college degree. I was in the military and shit. And to keep me out of trouble, which there was never any threat of, my parents would dutifully send me to the South during the summer. You know, one or two destinations on my mom's side and my dad's side. And I'd be out in the sticks and shit. And when I was on my mom's side of the family, I saw a lot of, like, well, what you would call black hillbillies that didn't give a shit about nothing. And their kids of their kids and shit, all the motherfuckers run, those are your Glorillas and all this southern shit and all this just fuckery, man. That's where that shit, a lot of that shit come from, just ignorance. And then, like, the kids of, like, on my, father's side and shit, be quite honest. The well-to-do, this and that other, they're the snobs. They're your future Candace Owens and, some of these other motherfuckers, they do your Officer Tatum's and shit, and they sit up, all smug and shit. And nobody can figure out, like, that, like, my particular segment is right in the middle. There's a lot of us that's right in the middle, and you can't see us and shit. They only show you that one ethnic group who should go unnamed. They only show you extremes of every goddamn thing. Only show you extremes. All right? Goldie Taylor, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself for this shit. Okay? I want you to go fuck yourself. You go to hell. Fuck you, fuck your people, fuck your family, fuck everybody that employed you. Fuck your pox on your ass. Okay? Pox on you. I'm walking through my fucking house right now. Looking around. Looking out the window at what was left over. After all these fucking pirates ran through this bitch. My parents bought their first house during white flight in Chicago. Alright? This house has sat in our family ever since. And I have no doubt once I decide to, leave that particular property, it'll be returned to those same white people. Alright? My older sibling tells me of meeting the actual people that used to own my mom and dad's first house and their daughters. Well, that was a nuclear family with two girls. And she talked to them for a minute and they played, and then the white people packed up and was out. Then they turned black. Alright? A lot of black boys there. A lot of gang members, all that shit. This is a ramble. And I hate to use that term too. Usually I hear a content creator who shall go unnamed using that term ramble. I won't name him. Doesn't name me. And tell me it's fucking hard, man. I have two children. I have an adult son and a kid that is in the school system. And I police my younger kid. I police what he's learning. I police his fucking teachers because I'm a dutiful parent and I talk to him and shit. And as much, and parent him in as much as his mother will not interfere. And we talk weekly about what he's learning and what he will learn. It's the reality of the future. And I remote parent my kid. And as my older kid, he went to a charter school and he went to college. He's well off. He's doing pretty good and shit, but he has some issues. And I don't want it to be hard for my kids. I want to, when I pass away, I want to know that my children are safe. And I want to know that they have a chance to make something of themselves, in this world. Not this country, this fucking world, this planet, whatever's left of it. After, a certain ethnic group gets through running it through the meat grinder. Putting in the wood chipper shit for their dollars, their ducats, their three pieces of silver. Yeah, it's a ramble. Let's talked about Goldie Taylor and her hit piece on black men. I talked about it in this shit. And I'm just posting the shit. I was gonna read that shit. I decided not to read it. I just posted the end part of it. What you see is the last few words of her hit piece on black men. It's we're the most hated. Ever since they've been running that game since they brought us over here. And since they ran a lot of us off our original lands, the indigenous people, our shit. They say they sold it to us for a song. They didn't sell us shit for a song. They traded it to us for blankets. Disease of blankets. Designed to kill us off. Now they're killing off your fucking brain. They're killing off your mind. They're killing off your potential and shit. And they destabilized our communities and shit. They destabilized our families. And they turned our women into service class, and lieutenants and shit, Confederates, gatekeepers, jailers, overseers, whatever you want to call it and shit. That's what I see when I look at fucking Goldie Taylor. That's what I see when I look at her face and shit. She's a danger to my family, to my children, to my generations. Her mindset, it's not unique. It has been around since this bullshit farce of a country began. Right? It's been around since that time. And with behind different faces, I could just, point to like fucking Oprah Winfrey and shit. Look what her influence has done to our communities and shit. No one's ever going to take her to task for it. All right? Yeah. Yeah, this is, what, street talk? I'll call it a street talk. That's what I'll call it. I'm tired. And sometimes I'm really fucking tired of this bullshit. All right, but I can keep going and shit. Now, I want to tell anybody, you don't like the terminology and I use in my goddamn videos or some of the language, please keep moving. Keep it moving and shit. I'm here to help my people, specifically young black men or black men in general. They need to hear shit. They need some kind of hope. They need some kind of voice out there. They need something. When I grew up, you didn't have shit. You had to figure it out yourself. And your parents was too self-absorbed or wrapped up to actually think ahead and read the fucking room. They didn't prepare you for the outside world and shit. But they sat up and convulsed and bitched about it ad nauseum and shit until you were, so inclined to leave. They go out and find your own place in the world with no fucking compass and shit. I can't do that. I'm a Generation X and shit. I take a responsibility for my contribution, my age group's contribution to the world at large. All right? Take responsibility for that, but I can't take responsibility for a piece of shit like Goldie Taylor and shit, a self-hating piece of shit that's been around since the dawn of chattel slavery. All right? Behind many different faces. She's what you call a Sambo. Okay? A coon, a cutthroat, a traitor, a divester of sorts. And she does good work for white supremacy.